Tonight on Nightline, remembering Tim. A sudden and stunning tragedy sends the political world into shock as Tim Russert dies at 58. Plus, Iowa underwater. Floodwaters force hospital patients from their beds and tens of thousands of people from their homes as streets become rivers and cities become lakes. The waters are shattering records. And Chelsea lately, hilarious, aggressive, sometimes offensive. For Chelsea handler, nothing's off limits. So how did this Jersey girl conquer the male-dominated world of late-night comedy?
From the global resources of ABC News, with Terry Moran in Washington, Martin Bashir and Cynthia McFadden in New York City, this is Nightline, June 13, 2008.
Good evening, I'm Terry Moran. When the news came today, it swept across this city like a dream of shattered glass. And tonight there is shock and there is profound sadness here in Washington. Tim Russert, a very great journalist and a very good man, is dead at just 58 years old. He suffered a heart attack while working at NBC's offices in Washington. He was recording material for this Sunday's edition of Meet the Press, a program he'd moderated for 17 years. Russert had been diagnosed with asymptomatic coronary artery disease, but his doctor says it seemed under control. An autopsy has revealed that he also had an enlarged heart. Tim Russert was, to those who knew him personally and to millions who knew his work, an extraordinary man.
On the internet. Let's chat.
What passion Tim Russert had.
Tell you the intensity of this campaign. Even upper deck baseball cards is involved in this campaign. Here's how they captured yesterday.
Over 2 decades, Russert brought a rare intensity and joy to Washington, a city he came to dominate, not with power, but with his passion for what goes on here, for what truly matters in the whirling kaleidoscope of American politics.
Our only exit strategy is to have enough Iraqis who are willing to defend their country, spill their own blood.
Tonight, Washington is a city in shock.
I couldn't believe it because Tim Russert can't die. I mean, it's just not possible. I mean, somebody who is that full of life and that great a guy.
The tributes poured in today. President Bush called him an institution in news and politics. Bill and Hillary Clinton said he made our democracy stronger. For so many politicians who Russert had interrogated over the years so relentlessly, there was genuine shock and sadness today.
Tim Russert was at the top of his profession. He was a man of honesty and integrity. He was hard, but he was always fair.
There wasn't a better interviewer in television, not a more thoughtful analyst of our politics, and he was also one of the finest men I knew.
It was an unlikely journey that brought Tim Russert to the pinnacle of political influence. But in a way, that was his secret, the key to his political acumen and his popularity. He never forgot where he came from. The proud son of a sanitation worker from Buffalo, New York, Russert brought his love of family, his unembarrassed patriotism, and his devout Catholic faith to a city that too often can sink into cynicism. Cynicism was alien to Tim Russert.
He could go head-to-head with presidents and kings and any kind of politicians, movie stars. Tim was a star, and yet he was the most unassuming person. He didn't have any sense of self-aggrandizement. You know, that he never sort of walked in a room like, I'm Tim Russert. It was always like, hey, who am I going to see? Who am I going to meet? What am I going to learn?
He was in politics before he covered it as a young campaign staffer for New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan and then for New York Governor Mario Cuomo. When he made the jump to journalism, he brought all he'd learned and loved with him.
Tim didn't have to fake his passion for politics. He loved it. He breathed it. He imbibed it. He ate it up. And his enthusiasm for politics and the fact that he had been a staffer for Senator Pat Moynihan years ago, the fact that he was a lawyer, the fact that He worked awfully hard at being a great journalist. Those three things together, the background in politics, the discipline of a legal background, and then the willingness to work hard as a reporter, combined with that effervescent personality of his, just made him second to none.
After a few years in management at NBC, he remained the Washington bureau chief there until his death.
This is Meet the Press.
Russert took over as host of Meet the Press in 1991, and political journalism was never the same.
No, but it is that generational divide.
Hillary Clinton announced on the internet.
He was a ferocious interviewer, but a fair and generous host. He had that rare quality in our business. He listened, but he was relentless in driving to the heart of an issue.
Do you think the American people are prepared for a long, costly, and bloody battle with significant American casualties?
Well, I don't think it's likely to unfold that way, Tim, because I really do believe we will be greeted as liberators.
He really understood that it wasn't just a game. As much fun as politics can be, it's not just a game. It matters. And he communicated that and brought it home to people every day. And that's what made him so good at what he did. And by watching him and competing against him, it made all of us better at it as well.
On election night in 2000, as we all scrambled to figure out what was going on, Russert boiled down the battle in a memorable low-tech demonstration.
If you just stayed with these simple boards, you wouldn't have those problems, those high-fluting computers, Tom. This is the answer.
For all his influence and professional accomplishment, Tim Russert was a family man, devoted to his wife, the writer Maureen Orth, and their son Luke. And then there was his dad, Big Russ, the sanitation worker from Buffalo. In 2004, Russert wrote a best-selling book, Big Russ and Me, tribute to his father, who survives him too.
I want to thank you so much for embracing him.
There's a hole in the heart of Washington tonight. Little Russ is gone.
In a way, I'm going to miss his aura, and you'll never have anybody like that again.